Hello, District 14 Toastmasters. Welcome to the District 14 training, How to be an Honorable Chief Judge. My name is Joanne Sheets, and I am a member of the District 14 Contest Training Team, along with J.D. Dirkschneider, Linda Rogers, Debbie Thompson, Laura Osen, and Trina Mackey. The team is presenting this training to help you hold a fabulous speech contest. Before we begin, I want to remind you that Toastmasters updates the contest rulebook each year, so always make sure that you are using only the current contest publications and training. You can find the current contest rulebook at toastmasters.org. This session covers who is the chief judge, the judicial team qualifications, chief judge responsibilities, an overview of protests and disqualifications, and the chief judge tasks after the contest. Who is the chief judge? The chief judge is the Judge Judy of the speech contest judicial team. He makes sure that all contest rules are followed. He is not really a judge because he does not vote in the contest. He should know everything about judging, contest rules, best practices, and timing. He appoints, briefs, and oversees the voting judges, tie-breaking judge, ballot counters, and timers. As with all contest officials, the chief judge cannot step in and fill any other role, even those of the rest of the judicial team. The chief judge, voting judges, tie-breaking judge, ballot counters, and timers make up the judicial team. Let's talk about judicial team qualifications. To be a chief judge, voting judge, or tie-breaking judge at a Toastmasters speech contest, you must meet all eligibility requirements. We will start with the club contest. You must be a paid member. The club must be in good standing. This means the club must have a minimum of 8 members, at least 3 of whom were members of the club during the previous renewal period, and you must be physically present. Please note that there are no time or longevity requirements. At an area, division, or district contest, you must be a paid member for a minimum of 6 months. Have completed a minimum of 6 speech contests in the Competent Communication Manual, or earned certificates of completion in levels 1 and 2 of any path in the Toastmasters Pathways learning experience. Only members who joined Toastmasters prior to the rollout of pathways in their region can apply speeches from the Competent Communication Manual towards eligibility for judging. And you must be physically present at the contest for which you are serving. At the division and district levels, a chief judge, voting judge, and tie-breaking judge cannot be a member of any club where the contestant is also a member. Please refer to the current contest rule book for qualifications beyond the district and division contests. Ballot counters and timers qualifications. They must be a paid member, and the club must be in good standing. There are required voting judges and officials for each contest. At each level of a Toastmasters contest, a specific number of voting judges and officials are required. At the club, area, division, and district levels, the contest chair and the chief judge are required. At the club level, at least 5 voting judges are required unless impractical. At the area level, an equal number of voting judges from each club in the area, or a minimum of 5. At the division level, an equal number of voting judges from each area in the division, or a minimum of 7. And at the district level, an equal number of voting judges from each division in the district, or a minimum of 7. At the club, area, and division and the district levels, a tie-breaking judge must be present. At the club, area, and division level, only 2 ballot counters are needed. But at the district level, 3 ballot counters are needed. And then at each level, club, area, division, and district, 2 timers are needed. There are additional requirements for judges above the district level. Please refer to the rule book. Let's begin with Chief Judge responsibilities. The Chief Judge provides the required forms to voting judges, the tie-breaking judge, timers, and counters. We'll now talk about each of these forms. The judge's certification of eligibility and code of ethics form. The top portion of the form lists the contest type and contest level. The bottom contains the judge's code of ethics and the signature line. All voting judges and the tie-breaking judge must complete this form. They must sign and print their name. I will talk more about the code of ethics later in the presentation. The next form is the judge's guide and ballot. This form must be completed for each contest type. The judging criteria is found on the back of the form. The top section is the worksheet, which lists the judging items and value points. The bottom part is the official ballot. The judge must sign his and print his name. Rank the contestants first, second, and third place. And judges must break their own ties. If the ballots are not signed and the contestants are not ranked, it will not be counted. Next is the tie-breaking judge's guide and ballot. This form is to be completed for each contest type. The judging criteria is found on the back of the form. The tie-breaking judge must sign and print his name on the ballot. He ranks all contestants on the official ballot. The speech contest time record contains the instructions for timing each contest type. The timer documents the contestants' names and their presentation time. Next is the counters tally sheet. The instructions are provided on the form for the counters. The counter lists the judges' names and lists the contestant's name in speaking order. They assign the points as directed in the instructions, and they document the first, second, and third winners. Next is the results form. The chief judge documents the winners on the results form and forwards it to the contest chair to announce the winners. And finally is the notification of contest winner form. The chief judge lists all eligible contestants on this form. He receives the contestants' information from the contest chair and forwards the form to the contest chair at the next level. All of these forms can be found at Toastmasters.org. Next, the chief judge counsels the judicial team. He counsels the voting judges, secret tie-breaking judge, timers, and counters. To counsel means to tell them what they are to do and how they are to do it. Let's begin with the judge's briefing. The chief judge provides the list of contestants in speaking order. He instructs voting judges to sit close to the contest area in case of an outside disturbance or malfunctioning technical system. He informs the judges of the designated speaking area. He reviews the judge's guide and ballot. In this review, he explains what constitutes a valid ballot. Judges must sign and print their name on the ballot. If the ballot is not signed, it is not counted. Contestants are ranked properly: first choice, second choice, and third choice. He instructs the voting judges to break their own ties. Next, he reviews the judge's code of ethics. Judges are to demonstrate the utmost objectivity. They are not to be biased. They are to judge based upon the provided criteria and treat all contestants fairly. They do not consider whether a speaker was under time or over time. The timers document time and report to the chief judge. Judges are to support and follow rules and standards and refrain from revealing their participation. They cannot provide feedback to contestants. Also, everything that happened before, during, and after the contest is confidential. They will not be a member of the same club as any contestant at the division or district levels. There must be no conflict of interest with any of the contestants. Finally, I want to mention confidentiality. All information is confidential. Do not discuss your role as an officiant with anyone. All forms, discussions, notes, etc. are to be kept confidential. The tie-breaking judge briefing. The tie-breaking judge is secret and known only to the chief judge. He abides by the judge's code of ethics. He signs and prints his name on the ballot. He judges contestants and ranks all of them on the tie-breaking judge ballot. The chief judge consults the tie-breaking judge's ballot only if there is a tie. In the timer's briefing, timers must know exactly when to start timing the speech and how to complete the timer's sheet. The first verbal or nonverbal communication is a cue that the speech has started. This may be in the form of props or music or an act. The first timer uses a stopwatch to time each speaker. This timer records speech times on the time record sheet and circles any time disqualifications. The second timer operates the signaling device that displays green, yellow, and red colors. The signals must be in full view of the contestant. When there is a failure of timing equipment, District 14 gives the relevant speaker the opportunity to start over. Timers need to know if a visually impaired contestant needs a different form of warning signal, such as a buzzer, bell, or verbal notice. The chief judge collects the time record sheet. For the ballot counters briefing, ballot counters confirm that all ballots have been received from the judges. The chief judge receives the tie-breaking judge's ballot. Ballot counters count the ballots along with the chief judge and tabulate the results using the counter's tally sheet. Each contestant receives points for being ranked first, second, and third place on the voting judge's ballot. 3 points for each first place ranking, 2 points for each second place ranking, and 1 point for each third place ranking. The chief judge makes sure that the ballots are read and recorded correctly, and if the counters agree on the tally, the chief judge completes the results form. The tie-breaking ballot is only used if there's a tie and only in relation to the speakers that are tied. After the contest, all forms are given to the chief judge for disposal. The chief judge is also responsible for confirming a private area for ballot counting and adjudication of protests. During the contest, the chief judge collects the tie-breaking judge's ballot. He checks the voting judge's ballots for signatures and printed names. He also checks for first, second, and third place choices. He collects the timekeeper's sheet and checks for any time disqualifications. He and the ballot counters count the ballots twice to ensure accuracy. The chief judge must know how to break a tie. He documents the winners on the results form and notifies the contest chair of the winner. The chief judge must know how to handle a protest. I will briefly talk about protests and disqualifications, but I encourage you to watch J.D. Dirkschneider's video on protests and disqualifications. Protests are limited to eligibility, originality, and reference to another contestant's speech. Eligibility means that the contestant must meet membership and education requirements, and the contestant cannot have competed in more than one area speech contest. Originality, An original speech means that 25% or less of the speech may be devoted to quoting, paraphrasing, or referencing another person's content. Any quoted, paraphrased, or referenced content must be identified during the speech presentation. Reference to another contestant's speech. Contestants must not reference another contestant's speech. Protests are lodged only by judges and contestants. The audience is not allowed to lodge a protest. The protest must be lodged with the chief judge and or contest chair before the contest is adjourned. How is the protest resolved? For originality and speech reference protests, the chief judge and voting judges meet privately to discuss the protest. Before a contestant is disqualified based on originality or referencing another contestant's speech, the contestant must be given the opportunity to tell his or her side of the story. The contestant is disqualified upon a majority of the voting judges. Finally, the chief judge tasks after the contest. The chief judge discreetly discards all documents. He graciously thanks the team for their service. He completes and forwards the notification of winner's form to the next level contest chair. Only the eligible contestants are listed. The chief judge gets the contestants' contact information from the contest chair. I have shared with you information on how to be an honorable chief judge, but I want to mention a few myths that might pop up as you're planning your contests. The first one, if needed, the chief judge acts as a tiebreaker or voting judge. No, the chief judge does not judge contestants. Secondly, I don't need a tie-breaking judge if I have an odd number of judges. No. Always have a tie-breaking judge. Even with an odd number of judges, there can still be a tie. If there is only one contestant, there is no need for a contest. No, a contestant still has to meet the originality and timing requirements. Beware of the myths that might pop up as you're planning. Finally, I want to share a few recommendations from the training team. We recommend that the chief judge has a digital copy of the contest rule book available. We recommend that you recruit more than the required number of judges in case a judge cannot attend. And we tell you, you want to be ethical from beginning to end. Always err on side of what is fair and right. I now introduce DTM JD Dirk-Schneider, who will talk about how to break a tie. Also, be on the lookout for other 2022-2023 contest training videos from District 14. DTM Dirk-Schneider.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been a ballot counter in numerous contests and have seen my share of ties. Most of the time, the chief judge didn't have a clue how to break them. Sometimes the chief judge only thought she knew how to break them, and it's no wonder why. Have you read what Toastmasters says about how to break ties? In the event of a tie, the chief judge will consult the tie-breaking judge's ballot. The tied contestant who received the highest ranking of the tie-breaking judge's ballot will gain the contested place, and any other tied contestants will be ranked in order behind that contestant. Well, if you're one of those who can follow this, by all means, play solitaire for the next few slides while I walk others through it, because this can determine who will advance to the next level. If not done correctly, it could prevent someone from becoming our next world champion of public speaking. So let's visit the Muppets speech contest to clarify this procedure. And please pardon my crude representations of the forms. Let's start with a simple tie, a two-way tie for first place. In this scenario, the counter's tally sheet shows that Kermit and Piggy are tied for first with 8 points. Big Bird received the second most votes, and Elmo received the third most votes. Madam Chief Judge, break that tie. Now is when you open the tie-breaking judge's ballot. You do not care about any other names on this ballot. All you care about is who did the tie-breaking judge rank higher, Kermit or Miss Piggy? In this contest, the TBJ thought Kermit more closely met the judging criteria, more so than Miss Piggy. So in this contest, Kermit is our first place winner. Piggy becomes our second place winner, or as Toastmasters puts it, our first alternate. Big Bird drops to third place, and little Elmo is out of the money. Now, do you know how to break multiple ties? No? Well, you may encounter one, so here's how you handle it. The tally sheet results are consolidated by number of votes, and since we have a tie for each place, we're going to refer to Ima TBJ's ballot. Big Bird and Oscar are tied for first. Ima ranked Big Bird higher than Oscar, so Big Bird is our first place winner. Now let's move on to the second place tie between Kermit and Piggy. Since Ima ranked Kermit higher than Piggy, Kermit is our second place winner. And finally, Cookie and Elmo are tied for third. Ima ranked Elmo higher than Cookie, so Elmo takes third place. Easy peasy, right? Wrong. Sadly, I've seen chief judges break multiple ties this way, each placement separately. Listen up now. Multiple ties are not broken separately. Let's look at the proper process. Same tally sheet, same TBJ ballot. In the proper step one, we break that first place tie. Ima ranked Big Bird higher than Oscar, so Big Bird takes first place. As you would expect, this is the same result as the wrong tie-breaking method we just saw. In step two, there's no need to consult Ima's ballot for second place because the loser of the first place tie, Oscar, drops down to second place. Notice the wrong method put Kermit in second. Now, to find our third place contestant, now we look at the two contestants who received the second most votes, Kermit and Piggy. Ima ranked Kermit higher than Piggy, so Kermit is our third place winner and Miss Piggy is out of the running. Hi-ya! The wrong method put little Elmo in third place. By correctly applying the rule book's tie-breaking procedure, if Big Bird is unable to compete at the next level, the correct second place contestant, Oscar, will take his place. Use the same method if 3 or more contestants are tied for any place. Chief Judge, help keep our contest fair. Understand how to break those ballot room ties.